I still remember the first night it began, as though it was etched in my skin like a scar I could never erase. My name is Clara, and I was never one to frighten easily. Life had already taught me to be tough. Growing up in a small town where everyone knew everyone meant you had to carry yourself with a certain resilience. But even the strongest person can unravel when the shadows outside their windows seem to know your name. It was a Tuesday evening, late autumn. The air was sharp, and the leaves whispered across the street like restless spirits. I had just settled down with a book, wrapped in a soft blanket, when I felt it, that prickle on the back of my neck, the sensation of being watched. At first, I ignored it. Old houses creak, wind rattles windows, shadows dance under streetlights. That's all it was, or so I convinced myself. But when I lifted my eyes from the page, I froze. Across the street, under the weak halo of the street lamp, stood a figure. He wasn't moving, wasn't shifting, just standing there, angled perfectly, so he could see into my living room window. I felt my heartbeat climb into my throat, thudding so loudly, I thought it might shake the glass panes. I tried to dismiss it as a passerby, someone waiting for a ride, or simply lingering. But an hour passed, then two, and he remained, watching. By midnight, when the lamp light flickered out, I finally gathered enough courage to yank the curtain shut. The figure melted into the darkness, but the memory of him lingered. That night, I barely slept. The next morning, sunlight bathed my house, and I almost laughed at myself. Surely it had been nothing. Maybe even my imagination. But the unease lingered like a shadow in my chest. I went about my day. Work, errands, calls with my sister, trying to shake it off. And then night fell again. At exactly 9, I noticed it once more. The same figure, same stance, same silence. This time closer. He was at the edge of my driveway. I told myself I wouldn't panic. Maybe it was a neighbor's guest. Maybe it was nothing at all. I tried to focus on cooking dinner, but every clink of a spoon against the pot echoed like thunder in my head. Every movement of the curtains felt like eyes blinking. I considered calling the police, but what could I say? There's a man outside my house standing. It sounded ridiculous. I imagined the officers exchanging smirks, jotting it down as another lonely woman's paranoia. So instead, I closed the blinds tightly, locked every door twice, and told myself to breathe. But breathing didn't help. For weeks, he came back. Always at 9. Always silent. Always watching. Sometimes across the street, sometimes by the corner of my yard, sometimes, God help me, close enough that I could see the pale reflection of his face through the faint gap in my curtains. His features never fully revealed themselves, but I knew, deep in my bones, that he wanted me to know he was there. Fear became my companion. My once cozy home turned into a trap. Every night, I checked locks obsessively, walked from window to ensure they were sealed, jumped at the sound of the refrigerator humming to life. I told no one at first. My pride, maybe, or my fear of being dismissed. But eventually I cracked. I told my sister, Marianne, who lived 2 towns over. Her voice tightened over the phone. Clara, you need to call the police. This isn't normal. He's stalking you. I wanted to believe she was exaggerating, but in my heart, I knew she wasn't. Still, the police offered little help. They sent a car down my street once, but of course, the figure didn't appear that night. When they found nothing, they shrugged, left, and never returned. So it was just me, my fear, and the window watcher. One night, my fear turned to defiance. I yanked open the front door, stepping out onto the porch with my flashlight clutched like a weapon. My hands shook, but I aimed the light toward where he stood. The beam cut through the darkness and revealed nothing. Just empty air, swaying trees, the silence of the street. My heart sank, relief and dread mixing like poison. Had I imagined it all? But as I turned to go back inside, my eyes caught something on the porch steps. A single, folded note. My stomach churned as I bent to pick it up, the paper damp from dew. I unfolded it with trembling fingers. It read, "I like watching you." My scream tore through the night. From that moment, I knew I wasn't imagining anything. This wasn't harmless. It was real. And it was escalating. I doubled my security, installed cameras, reinforced locks, bought a dog, a German shepherd named Rex, who barked ferociously at the smallest noise. For a while, it gave me peace. For a while, the watcher disappeared. But fear is clever. It knows how to hide until the moment you let your guard down. 2 months later, I woke at 3 a.m. to the sound of Rex growling low in his throat. My heart jolted awake before my body did. I slipped out of bed, careful not to make a sound, and padded to the living room. The curtains were closed, but a shadow loomed against them, unmistakable and chilling. The watcher hadn't left. He had only been waiting. Rex lunged, barking, teeth gnashing against the window pane. I screamed, fumbling for my phone, dialing 911 with shaking hands. The operator's calm voice did little to soothe me as I whispered that someone was outside my house. When the police arrived, the shadow was gone. Again, just like before. They searched, but found nothing except footprints in the snow, leading right up to my window. That night, I knew I couldn't keep living like this. I packed a bag, grabbed Rex, and fled to Marianne's house. For weeks, I stayed with her, jumping at every creak of her floorboards, checking her windows obsessively. She tried to comfort me, but she never truly understood the depth of my terror. When I finally returned home, the house felt foreign, cold, unsafe. Every corner whispered of him. I checked the footage from the cameras and my blood froze. He was there night after night, standing in different spots, watching, waiting, sometimes waving at the lens. He never tried to break in, never spoke, never moved closer than the glass. But somehow that made it worse. He didn't need to break in to own my fear. Months passed. The police remained useless. Friends drifted away, tired of my paranoia. Even Marianne grew weary, urging me to try to move on. But how could I, when my life had been hijacked by a faceless figure in the night? Then one night he stopped coming. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Slowly, I breathed again. Rex, and I found a fragile rhythm. I opened my blinds during the day, played music while I cooked, even invited Marianne over for wine. For the first time in a year, I felt human again. I began to hope that maybe, just maybe, it was over. But evil doesn't just vanish. It waits. One late evening, as I folded laundry in my bedroom, I heard it. A faint tap. I froze, holding a shirt against my chest. The sound came again. Tap. Tap. My eyes crept toward the window, dread already coursing through my veins. Slowly I turned, and there he was. Not outside. Inside. His face pressed against the glass of my bedroom window from the inside of the house. His smile stretched too wide, his eyes glinting with hunger. The scream never made it out of my throat.